It's been said in the past by both James Gunn and Kevin Feige that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be the last time that we see this iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily that this is going to be the last time we ever see the Guardians of the Galaxy, just this version. So we may see a new version going forward in the MCU, and that is exactly what we were talking about today. Because by the end of that film, some Guardians will die, some Guardians will retire, and then some will continue on to this next new team that is coming in the future. And that's really the big thing that we're talking about, is just what is the future of the Guardians of the Galaxy? Because really looking at it, I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't read any rumors or reports about this film, but the two most likely candidates to die are Rocket Raccoon and Drax. I mean, Dave Bautista has even said himself that he's done. Like, this is his last movie as Drax. Like, whether his character dies or retires, this is it for Drax. And Rocket, James Gunn has teased that he's been doing this long arc for Rocket and is going to come to an end in Guardians 3. So most likely he's going to make a big heroic sacrifice and it's going to be great. Super excited for that, but also going to be super heartbroken at the same time. But what about the rest of them? What about the ones that do survive? Like, are we going to see Nebula continue? Or what about Kraglin or Mantis or Groot? Mantis and Groot I could see continuing on to this new Guardians team, but the one I am 100% sure about is Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, because he's even said in the past that post Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, he is fully ready to renew his contract with Marvel. He wants to continue on as this character in the future, and I'm all for it. I mean, I love him as an actor, I love his character, and he is basically the leader of the Guardians, so for him to be the one to kind of pass the torch and continue on to this new group makes a lot of sense. But that actually brings us into our new report that we were talking about today, a report from Great Phase, who's a rather new scooper, but got a lot of accurate information from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and a lot of recent projects as well. But he has said that there will be a scene towards the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where Star-Lord and Cosmo will form a new Guardians of the Galaxy team, or at least talk about plans for it. Now, before we do go any further, though, for those of you that don't know who Cosmo even is, Cosmo is, of course, the space dog that we saw in the first Guardians of the Galaxy film, and just based off that movie, if you don't know anything of him from the comics, you may be a little confused, like, why is that dog wearing a spacesuit gonna be forming the new Guardians of the Galaxy team? Well, that's because he's so much more than just a regular dog. We actually know he's going to be appearing in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and assumedly playing a pretty huge role in Volume 3 as well. And anyway, in the comics, he is a Russian talking telepathic space dog. So he's a super powerful character, and in the comics it actually makes a lot of sense with the connection here, because he is originally the one that forms the Annihilators, which is basically the Guardians of the Galaxy 2.0. So it looks like he's going to be doing that same thing in the MCU, but this time alongside Star-Lord, whereas in the comics when he formed the Annihilators, it was due to the death of Star-Lord and it was kind of in his honor. So Cosmo and Star-Lord forming the Annihilators at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 makes a lot of sense. And the Annihilators, if you don't know, like I said, are basically Guardians of the Galaxy 2.0. And I made a video about this a couple months ago because there was a previous report from another fellow scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, because she revealed that supposedly there's going to be an Annihilators project in development at Marvel Studios, and that will be the next Guardians of the Galaxy team. And in the comics, the Annihilators consists of members like the Silver Surfer, Beta Ray Bill, Ronan the Accuser, Gladiator, Nova, Phyla-Vell. So there's a lot of different characters that could be a part of this team in the MCU, but just like with everything else Marvel Studios does, it's not going to be a one-to-one comic to movie translation. They're probably going to do a mixture of the Annihilators and the Guardians of the Galaxy, because in the comics, the Annihilators is more than just the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I feel like in the MCU, they're going to simplify it as, okay, it's just the next Guardians of the Galaxy. So they'll probably do a mixture of Annihilators members from the comics, and then also include members from our previous Guardians of the Galaxy team, which, like I mentioned, would obviously include Star-Lord, most likely, and I'm thinking probably Mantis since she's newer. Hopefully Groot, I think, would be a nice addition as well, because honestly, I doubt Vin Diesel is going to be opposed to getting paid millions of dollars just to say the same three words over and over again. So I feel like Groot should be back. And maybe would even want to continue on with the team post his friend Rocket's death. That would be interesting to see. But who else could we see, at least for new members, for the Annihilators? Well, Great Phase's original report here with Cosmo and Star-Lord forming this new Guardians team does also mention the involvement of Adam Warlock and Phyla-Vell. We of course know that Will Poulter is going to be introduced as Adam Warlock in this film. He's going to be a villain, but most likely, just like in the comics, by the end of the movie will be turned into a hero and will become an official Guardian of the Galaxy. So that's going to be really, really cool and makes full total sense that he will join the team. But also we have Phyla-Vell, who has been rumored to be appearing in the film, played by Danielle Melchior, which, if that is true, I'm super excited about that because that's honestly perfect casting. Not only does she actually look like Phyla-Vell, but also because she was amazing in the Suicide Squad as Ratcatcher 2. So I'd love to see that. We already know she's officially joined the cast. So those two would be great additions to this team as well. And that kind of gets us our nice core for the Annihilators team going into that project. At least at the end of this film, it could be Star-Lord, Cosmo, Adam Warlock, and Phyla-Vell. And then when we do eventually get the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, or the Annihilators movie, or Disney Plus series, whatever, then that's when we can add in some other members as well. Like, for example, maybe Moondragon, another character that's also been rumored for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, who I feel like maybe actress Maria Bakalova from Borat 2 could possibly be playing that role. That's kind of just a wild guess just because I know that she's in the cast as well. So I don't know if she would join the team though, because in the comics she's actually Drax's daughter. So if Drax just retires, then they might go off to live their life happily ever after. Or if Drax dies, then that may actually inspire her to join the Guardians of the Galaxy or the Annihilators and kind of honor her father. Which would actually be pretty cool going forward in this Annihilators franchise, because Moondragon and Phyla-Vell actually have a romance together in the comics. So that would be cool to follow that up in the MCU as well. But what about new members? Members from the Annihilators in the comics that could join this team. Now, there's always a crazy possibility that we could bring back Ronan the Accuser and have him join the team, or bring in Quasar or the Gladiator or somebody like that. But I fully believe that the most likely one is Nova, because we know that a Nova movie is in development for the MCU. I've done a couple videos about it actually in the past couple of weeks. So I fully believe that Nova will join this team because, he could possibly join the Avengers, but I feel like it's more likely for him to join the Annihilators because it's basically going to be kind of the cosmic Avengers. So all our cosmic heroes will kind of go to this team as their Avengers. Silver Surfer, I'd say, is also a pretty huge possibility as well, because we know that he's been long rumored to be coming to the MCU also, getting his own project, whether that's a movie or Disney Plus series. That could then lead to him joining this team with the Annihilators. And same goes for Beta Ray Bill, another long-time rumored character who may or may not appear in Thor Love and Thunder. If he does, then that's perfect setup right there. If he doesn't, the connections with Thor, maybe Thor 5 or something like that, we could see him join the MCU, and the Annihilators would be a perfect place for him. But then, of course, there's so many other crazy Marvel characters out there on the cosmic side of this universe that could join the Annihilators and the next Guardians of the Galaxy in this universe, because Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to do some huge setup for the next decade of the cosmic side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, for all we know, some of these other upcoming MCU cosmic characters could also join the team, like maybe possibly some Eternals, like maybe post-Eternals 2 or whatever. However they continue that story, we could see Star Fox and Pip the Troll join the team, because they have at least had some involvement with these characters here. We could see Howard the Duck show up. You never know. That's also a possibility. Maybe since we have Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, probably being a part of the Avengers on Earth, maybe we could have her counterpart, Monica Rambeau, as Photon. Maybe she could join the Guardians of the Galaxy or Annihilators. I think that could be pretty fun as well. But guys, what do you think about this possibility and this supposed leak of the Guardians of the Galaxy being set up post Volume 3? And what do you think about this whole idea of the Annihilators? Who do you want to see on the team? What returning members from our original Guardians team? And what new characters do you want to be introduced for the Annihilators? So guys, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.